Episode of the Everblack Podcast is brought to you by Deathwish, Hotrods and Kustoms. Check out their Instagram for all their new t-shirts, caps, beanies, cups, and the all-new Atomic Death lineup.
Apologize if I'm still a little bit cloudy in my brain because I just got back from a tour.
Yeah, it looked like it was a pretty good run. I mean,
It was a great run.
a big run.
It was a great run. It was a big run. It's an exhausting run. I'm not fully recovered yet. Just getting my life back in order.
Oh, man.
Still got a little bit of a cough going on, so that might happen every once in a while.
Bang over.
Hanging in there.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Well, Jacob, my name's Nev anyway, dude. It's awesome to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Well, as we were just saying, I mean, you just had a massive tour with Skeletal Remains, Vitriol, and Splattered, and that looked like it was just an incredible run, and it was a massive run as well. How was it getting back on the road out there in the big wide world after everything that's happened? You know, that thing?
Yeah, that thing. Well, it was surprisingly normal in terms of you look at the shows, you have a big crowd of people and everybody's enjoying themselves, not shy to get sweaty and wild in the pit. So that's really was great to see. A few people are wearing masks, whatever. Some people want to protect themselves, but in general, it was surprisingly normal, meaning pre-2020 normal.
That's, man, I'm seeing it here slowly as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's starting to get really good. We just had a massive festival on the weekend. It's starting to happen again. It's super exciting, dude.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it's great. It's great to be back. And I feel like people are actually hungrier than ever. I don't know if I hope it's a permanent change. Probably it's not going to last. But right now, I feel like people are especially appreciative. Attendance was great. People sold a lot of merch. I mean, people bought a lot of merch. All the bands sold a lot of merch. And not sure if that's a lasting effect. But yeah, for right now, people are really, really appreciative. Just glad to be back at shows.
So I think people are starting to get over the whole Netflix and chill, being cooped up inside. They want to get out and see bands and get amongst it again. So yeah, it's awesome, dude. And it's good to hear that it's happening over there, especially over there. It seems like you guys are ahead of us
Maybe. I feel like definitely ahead of Europe. I'm not sure where Australia is at right now, but I have an eye on Europe always, of course. And they're a little bit behind on that for sure.
Man. But how was it hitting the road with those other guys? It would have been cool.
It was fantastic. Always wish we would hang out more, but we had great hangs, so I can't really complain. It's just between all the brutal drives and you know how it goes. But there were really no bad characters, no bad incidents. Everybody was super nice, helpful, uplifting. Just helping each other out. And great guys, all of them really.
It's funny when you mentioned brutal death metal and everybody having a good time being. Yeah, it's like
absolutely like you go,
exactly
you go
around.
And it doesn't matter even if you played a show where it's like, I don't know, your monitoring sucked or you were not feeling it for whatever particular reason that night, and all the other guys just come up and now just lifting you up like, dude, fucking killer show, and pointing out things. I'm like, thanks guys. I mean, you're the audience perspective at the same time you're musicians, so you know what's going on, and I'm always my worst critic. So sometimes it's just really helpful to have these uplifting characters just kind of scoop you up after the stage, after coming off stage, and just kind of giving you these warm words. It's a great thing. And I return that as well, of course.
Absolutely. And you had a tour dog I saw as well. Is that your dog?
It was my dog. Yeah, she came with us just for the last 3 shows. It would have been too much for a whole month, of course, but it just worked out that way because she was kind of in the area, Cupertino, because she was staying with my in-laws for a little bit while my wife was going on a trip of her own. And then it just worked out perfectly that my wife flew into Cupertino, had my in-laws, her parents, deliver our dog to her, and then join us on that tour for like 3 days and circle back home at the end. So yeah, great.
How was that? Was that a mood changer as well?
Absolutely.
Everyone loves dogs.
Yeah, she was the center of attention for us. In the RV and everywhere.
That's so good. That's so good. And you had Justin, is it Sakagawa?
Sakagawa, yeah.
Yeah, on guitars. He also plays for Splattered. How did that come about?
Well, he was already gonna be in Defeated Sanity, at least as a live guitarist as far back as 2019. He's been auditioning, and we had him on a tour in 2020. That tour just didn't make it very far because 4 shows in, COVID happened, and we all got sent home. But he was already lined up, and then completely independent of that, Splattered got booked on the tour, and then he found himself doing double duty on this tour, which I think he's not gonna do again. It was really exhausting. That's every night, but he wanted to check it off the bucket list, so he did it. 30 shows, 60 sets. Yeah. I don't know. That is insane. Yeah,
it is. Yeah, his hands probably like.
Oh yeah.
Advice.
For us, it was maybe not even such a bad thing because he was always warmed up. You know, we had played a set that night, and but for him, I mean, it's hard because it breaks up the entire night. You gotta be strategic on tour. When do you go to eat? You can't eat too close to the set because then you're gonna be feeling heavy, you know, but you still want to eat something. And when drinking before the set is also quite limited, you can maybe have a drink, but not really more than that. So having it broken up into him being in the opening band and then in the headlining band, like usually when he was sound checking with Splattered, that was like our dinner time. Like shit, now he needs to, you know, tend to that. And then after playing the first set, you know, you come off stage, you feel like getting a drink or a couple of drinks in. But no, he has another set, so he has to wait. And the other set is not until the end of the night. So yeah, it definitely messed his schedule up for sure. But he did really well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Is he coming down with you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, nice. So what about moving forward? Is he looking at being official, or is it going to be
most likely, yes. We haven't actually had that official talk yet with him. But we said we were going to offer him the job full time if he wants it. And it will come with some strings attached, I'm sure. And, you know, like, I'm not sure if the double duty thing is going to be another option in the future, but it will be, he's welcome to say, I'll drop everything and join you guys full time, and we'll welcome him for sure.
Awesome, man. Well, of course, I mean, we're talking about the Defeated Sanity hitting the road here with our very own Disentomb and Wraith. Man, it's been a long time coming. We've been hanging for some brutal death metal down here, that's for sure. It's your first time. I mean, shit, dude. Have you been here before?
No, never. I'm actually really, really excited for this one simply because I like traveling. I'm big into traveling. I like geography. I always wanted to go to Australia. I always wanted to go to New Zealand. These places, they seem so far away from Germany. It's like literally on the other side of the globe. So always been a bucket list item for me. I've never made it there. So yeah, couldn't be more excited.
Well, there you go. You've got New Zealand, which I think is that way. There you got hobbits.
Yeah.
And stuff that way. Over here we've got drop bears, you know, and all the things that can kill you. It's going to be a good time.
All the time. I know it. And yeah, I'm really, really excited for it. And even if I wouldn't get to play a show, I'd just come there anyway.
You're going to have a good time, man. It's going to be a real, real good time. We love the death metals down here. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So, especially with those boys. I mean, they're one of our best exports. Disentomb. Have you toured with them before?
No, never. We've met at Mountains of Death Festival in 2008.
That's right.
Sorry, 2011. Wait. Yeah, it was 2011. That's right. So they were playing that festival. That was their first time coming over as like a newcomer band playing Europe. And we've spoken about touring so many times since, just never worked out. I think once it almost worked out, but then I don't know, something always happened, and conflicting schedules, and yeah, this will be the first time finally hitting the road together.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be real good, man. Like they're a great live band too.
Yeah, I know. Absolutely, 100%. I think people are really gonna get their money's worth on this one.
Absolutely, man. And of course, your latest album. Now, let me say this slow because it's early in the morning here. Sanguinary Impetus. Impetus. Ah,
yeah.
Damn it.
I don't know. I'm German. What do I know?
I'm Australian. I talk backwards. That came out in 2020, and heaps of people down here loved it. Heaps of dudes are like this. I mean, we're looking forward to hearing some of that stuff live. But of course, being your first time, you've got whole back catalogue to get through as well. So, what are we going to be expecting in terms of the set list? Is it going to be focused on the new material or a bit of a mix?
We will probably make it a bit of a mix, simply for the reason that we're there for the first time. If like this US tour we just put behind us was very much focused on the Sanguinary Impetus, because we played the United States with the last album and the other albums before that. So we can focus on what's new, and we'll do the same thing in Europe. But places we haven't been to, like Australia, or next month we're going to Colombia for the first time.
Oh, wow.
So these places we've never played. We usually just do like a kind of nice package best of, best of all albums set lists, just because, that's the first chance that people will get there to see us, and it shouldn't be too heavy on one album. So we'll try to even it out.
It's a tough call.
It is tough, and it gets tougher with each new album that you release. We have 6 albums now, and each album is like, we built a set list for a tour, and it's always like, but now we only have 2 songs from this album. And then we realized, well, 2 songs from each album is 12 songs already. So at one point, you can't really do more than 2 songs of one album. There's so many more that you want to play, but it gets harder and harder over time to fit all that in there.
And everyone's got their favorites too, and ones they don't want to drop.
Exactly. Yeah, we're always fighting on that. Everyone has their favorites, but it's all about compromise.
That's it. You gotta. I'm going through that at the moment. We've one of my bands, and we had to drop a song that I really, really like, and had to compromise. And I was like, "Come on, man!" But it's the one. They're like, "No, man."
Yeah, and then there's also the most popular songs. The songs that you always play are the ones that you don't really want to play because you always play them.
Yeah.
You're always looking for, a little bit more excitement, like freshening things up by adding a song that you haven't played in years. But then you're dropping a song that is like a fan's favorite. And it's hard because you got to put yourself in the fan's perspective. At the same time, you still have to perform. So it's a dilemma. Like, do you always play the fan favorites, even though you really just are sick of them? It's a tricky one.
Well, that's it. And then you've got like the big, huge bands like Metallica and stuff that go out there and they just smash out the hits.
Yeah, I don't know how that is for them, like playing From the Bell Tolls every show for 35 years. People get sick of it. It's a great song, but if you play it every night, you must be sick of it.
Yeah, well, that's it. But I guess there's the whole thing. It's somebody's first time seeing it.
Right.
Right. But you're like, man, I'd love to play that one that we haven't really jammed on. I like it when bands throw in those.
Yeah. We always like to put a few like deep cuts in there for sure. You don't just want to play, what everybody expects.
Yeah, and it's always good seeing. I guess it's always good when you see that one dude. It's like their favorite song, and he's never heard it live, and he's like losing it. Yeah.
That's worth it.
But of course, with this album and everything that's gone on over the last couple of years, did you feel that? Obviously, it didn't get its proper run, and you're only just starting to really get into the meat of promoting it now. Is that weird?
That is super weird. Yeah, actually puts us in a really, really weird position, because technically the album is gonna be 2 years old this July or something. So by the time we hit Australia, the album's gonna be 2 years old. It doesn't feel 2 years old because we've only done this one US tour now on this new album. But it's been around, and it's a strange thing. Part of us wants to move on and like get the next one out quick, and part of us also feels like it's not gonna do it justice if we move on too quickly without giving it a proper touring cycle. It's kind of, I mean, we all feel like this is our best album to date, and we want to give it the proper touring run. And yeah, it's a weird one. It's just COVID messed up everything in that regard.
Yeah, it's like, it is weird, hey? It's like it's been 2 years, but it doesn't feel like it. It's like, look at back here, it's like a, just a break in time. And here we are.
I'm actually, at first, I was super, I don't know if upset's the right word, but I was kind of bummed out that it was a pandemic release and it came out without any prospect of representing it live, playing any shows, fests, tours, whatever. But looking back, it's maybe not a bad thing, because I think it might have even helped record sales and like streaming, and because everybody was at home and without going to shows, you're maybe more likely to look for new music to entertain you, and Netflix, all that, of course. But if you're a music buff, maybe you just have a little bit more time on your hands to discover new albums. So that could have actually been a positive thing too.
Did you notice a lot of people singing along to the new stuff, but that you were playing because they've had that time to sit?
Impressive if they would manage to sing along. This stuff is so twisted.
Yeah.
Most people, they recognize like here comes the breakdown part, or they recognize the crazy tapping part, or little things that stick out. Sometimes I see like some air guitar, air drumming. But yeah, singing along, that's a lot to ask without music.
There's always that one dude in the crowd.
Yeah, there's always that one. Of course, there's a few guys who really know it well, and it's impressive. Yeah.
Well, I mean, of course, death metal from a mainstream perspective is mostly misunderstood. The majority of people, all they hear is noise and blast beats. The fine things in life, gore, blast beats.
Yes.
All that good stuff. But underneath musically, it's so much more complex. And, with a lot of dudes being jazz musicians and drawing from those influences, what's your thoughts on that? What's the connection there between death metal and those?
It is somewhat connected to jazz in a way that it's both not really music that you can just put on the radio, not music that's for the masses. It's both music that you need to kind of acquire a taste for. Most people that hear jazz, like proper, like, bebop or something, not the, elevator lounge jazz, but like the real wild stuff for the first time, they just think it's just a tornado of noise and notes that, sound off and don't make sense. But you dive into it and you kind of develop an understanding and appreciation for it, and acquire that taste. Now that's very similar with death metal, especially metal too, but especially death metal. With death metal, it's on top of everything that metal has, which is loud, like double bass, and just lots of stress kind of invoking noises. And some people just get stressed out by it, which again to me is weird, because I almost did opposite effects, almost more soothing and calming to me. But then adds the vocals on top, and the vocals is what turned most people off. So if you like, I remember back in high school, music class, everybody's showing their favorite music or whatever, put on their favorite song and talk about it today or something. You put on death metal and everybody's like, all right, this is cool. And then the vocals come in and people are like, what is that? Turn it off. They didn't get it. As long as it has like understandable vocals, people want to hear lyrics, they can listen to like System of a Down or something that is metal with like understandable singing along lyrics, but then you put death metal growls over it, and people are like, no, I'm not.
Yeah, that's it. But
it's hard. It's hard to get into it. I don't think the first time I heard growling, I don't think I could take it seriously. I think I was like, it's a joke or something. But then you appreciate the art behind it. That's, you know, not easy to make these sounds. And honestly, at first you think it's not real anyway. You think it's some kind of effects processing and pitch shifting, and then you understand, oh wow, no, there's actually a whole group of people, like, you know, having built this vocal style over time, you know, building on each other's vocal styles, and then it just went more and more extreme and deeper and crazier, and now you have heinous killings and crazy, like, predator vocals and pig squeals and all that stuff.
There's a lot to it. I get asked a lot. People always say to me, they go, "Oh, do you just lose your voice?" And it's like, no, I don't really.
Yeah.
You know, after you're doing it for so long.
You do it properly,
Yeah.
You shouldn't lose your voice from it.
Yeah.
But it's not just screaming into a mic like most people think.
No, that's it. But there's something about it, man. There's definitely something that takes time to learn how to do it properly, and then to, you know. So here's to all the death metal vocalists.
Yeah. So jazz doesn't have that problem. Jazz, I mean, if it's instrumental jazz anyway, and even if it's vocal jazz, it's almost more appealing. Instrumental jazz, most people are like, yeah, this is too nerdy for me. And then you add vocals on top. You have like Michael Bublé and stuff like that, and now you can put it on the radio and people actually, you know, like it, and you know, sell millions of copies of it. You know, it helps it.
It's not my jam. Not my jam. But in regards to, you know, the mainstream sort of stuff, I don't know if you've heard it. But there's Dream Widow, the Dream Widow EP that Dave Grohl just released. Have you heard that?
I've only heard, so when that one song came out that got people talking, I put it on. I was like, interesting. Is this Foo Fighters, or, I mean, I don't know. Is it Foo Fighters or is it his own thing? I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's Dave Grohl and what's his name from Fireball Ministry, but it's really fucking good. I was surprised. I thought it's going to be a piss take.
Right? I mean, I've only heard it that one time, very, very brief, but it was like kind of thrashy, right? A little bit of like growling, but, you know, like thrash beats and even blast beats. It was very surprising. I wonder what like the general reception of like non-metal people was. I haven't really followed like the mainstream news and what people write on the boards and stuff.
It's interesting.
But that's cool. I mean, if people were to be turned on by this and then look deeper and be like, oh, there's a whole world of this stuff out there, you know, that would help us.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially since, you know, nanas and dads and mums are listening to Foo Fighters, and they're like, oh, here's a new Foo Fighters album. They put it on. They're like, oh, didn't expect this, but it's really good. And in saying that, I do exactly my point. You know, I hope that there are people out there that will jump the fence, hear that and jump the fence. I think it's a good thing. I don't know how the other death metal community thinks about it, but I thought,
you know, it's always the same with like these bands, like Slipknot and all these bands. Half the death metal community is like ostracizing, like, this is, you know, like, if you listen to this crap, you're not true. And the other half of the people are like, I mean, I don't like it or whatever, or maybe I do, but it doesn't matter. If it brings in people to the scene, then that's a good.
That's it. That's exactly right. And in regards to, you know, before we were talking about the jazzy stuff, you guys have dabbled in that in the past. Is it something that you're looking at maybe exploring more of in the future?
The jazzy stuff in general?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've always kind of pushed more trying to integrate odd times and just odd, not just odd times as in meters, but also odd numbers of repetitions or, you know, harmony, playing with like odd harmonies, and taking elements from jazz, because jazz doesn't have these rules. Like, you can pretty much do everything that you want to do. And we don't ever want to compromise brutality. Like, we always want to keep it as death metal as possible, but within that, you know, fence around, okay, this is still, we still think this is brutal. We try to stuff as much weird jazz inspired, little stuff in there. And I think it actually helps the vibe of the music, because the more weird it is and less like transparent. It's less obvious. Simply, like you hear it and you don't get it the first time. You have to listen and again and again. And that helps the obscurity of the music and makes it more, a little bit more mysterious, a little bit more obscure, and helps the whole death metal vibe, in my opinion. So yeah, I mean, we're not gonna be like a full-on jazz band. I'm not even like nearly educated enough on that matter to like play full-on jazz. But I like the little bits and pieces of it. I love to listen to jazz and, you know, let that reflect in my bass playing and the Sanity.
Because, man, you're an incredible bass player. Let's just say that. Yeah, I think like in death metal, I think you're one of the best. And that's not me just saying that. Like I've had that conversation with people before that are like,
I hear that. Some people say that. I never believe it. I always think like I could, you know, there's so many things that I'm not doing to the standard that I want to hold myself to. But people say that, and I'm like, don't know what to respond. Like, I know it's genuine, and I appreciate it. I just wish I could think that too. You know,
your own worst critic, brother.
Always.
But you know, it's there. People really love your work, mate. So
thank you.
No worries. No, absolutely. And we can't wait to see it live. But I saw you guys just released your discography on cassette in that box set. Holy shit, that is cool, man. Oh, you got it there?
It's in the other room. So give me a second.
Yep, I'll put up a little. Be right back. Just going to get it. Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Yeah. Actually, I haven't opened it yet, so this is now the official unboxing video.
All right.
It's a really... Oh, no. Really sick one. I've seen it already. I've seen it unboxed. I just haven't unboxed my own copy.
There you go. Is it something you want to do?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Awesome. I don't, no pressure to, if you...
Because there's a lot to look at inside. So it's really great. Anyway, so yeah, we just released our first box set. And it's a cassette box set. Would have never thought that would happen, but this is cool.
It's wild, man. It's wild because vinyl and cassettes, especially now, it's like it's swung back around.
Mm-hmm.
It's massive now, man. Like I know dudes who are frothing tapes. Look at that. Look how crisp that is. Look at that.
Yep. This is a mashup of all the album covers, which is really sick. You can see passages in there and Disposal and Psalms. Prelude is somewhere in there.
That's
Samada isn't in there, but
that is incredible.
Yeah, and then you got all the individuals. So let's just start with. I mean, I'm not going to pull them all out.
They don't want them all falling out.
Here's a new one. So then, you have the individual cassettes, and they come with little booklets. So this is the tape, and this is my favorite part. That they actually made a booklet for each cassette tape with all the lyrics and everything in there.
Dude, how good is that? I remember that. That's like, I don't know. I'm showing my but I used to love that. I used to love pulling out a tape and you'd have all the lyrics there. Man.
It's super throwback. I don't even have a tape player anymore, and it kind of bums me out now that I have these. I might want to just get one again, but yeah, it's such a sick thing to have.
Man,
I'll probably never play these. They'll probably just live up on my my shelf.
It's pretty special though, dude. I mean,
it's special, yeah.
In a time where it was just CDs and people would just be like cassettes and throw them out the car window.
Mm-hmm,
Those people are now kicking themselves because they're like, I just threw out this, really rare Slayer tape, all this stuff. Because I used to go to school with my best mate, and we used to have a duffel bag filled with cassettes, and we'd just be constantly rewinding with the pencil.
Yeah, of course.
But at the end of it, we were like, we don't need these anymore. And now I'm absolutely kicking myself that I got rid of some of them, like Rust in Peace. I used to have Rust in Peace on cassette. Ooh.
I don't have any sets anymore either. I don't know what happened. They either just got eaten by the tape deck or thrown away because, why would you? I had a Walkman way longer than I didn't have TV, didn't listen to tapes at home anymore, like a tape deck, but I still had my Walkman for a long time. Then I got the Discman, and you know how it goes. And it's just like, this is just clutter. Get it out of here,
It's all on the phone. But, there was something magical about those days. I got to say, maybe I'm just old, but
there is. I think there is. But it is also nostalgia. If you haven't lived in those days, you're probably wondering why what is this? Cool. I'm hoping that we will maybe make a CD box set at one point. But hey, it was a great start.
Yeah, man. That's incredible. I want one. A vinyl? I mean, I'm a vinyl dude. Are you a vinyl guy?
Not really, no. I'm full on like a CD kind of kid. I grew up with CDs. They were already so established. I don't know. I'm born in 87, so I never had the need for vinyl, and then didn't really jump on the revival train either. So I own a few, I own all the Defeated Sanity stuff pretty much, and some other copies. But in fact, when I moved from Germany to the States where I live now, I didn't even bring my vinyl, my tape, not tape. Lack of words here. You know what I mean? My record player. Record. Yeah. I didn't bring it with me, so I don't own a record player at this point. And that's actually something I'm debating to just purchase again, get a record player.
So I got one last year. I've had vinyl for a while, and I got gifted one, and man, I fell down the rabbit hole. I've got to say, out of all the vinyl that I've seen, the outlay and everything, and even the vinyl themselves, you guys have got some incredible looking vinyl, dude. Like the actual physical prints on the discs, all the variants and stuff. Man, incredible.
Yeah, that last one was sick. That clear and blood splatter or something. That was a sick one. I have a copy of that too. I keep a copy of everything.
Man, are you bringing some down with you?
We have to. I haven't even looked into that yet, but yeah, we'll definitely have to somehow either bring them or ship them down there or something. We'll need to do that 100%.
All the money.
Of course, yeah. And I mean, people do buy vinyl down there, right?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll need some of that for sure.
Yeah, bring some down, man. You'll be like, we sold them all to this one dude. it'll be me. Yeah. But they're so good, man. It's so good. But of course, I mean, in regards to other merch, I saw that he had the Defeated Sanitizer.
Oh yeah. Yep.
What is that? No one did that.
No, I have that to show as well.
You got that as well. Awesome. I love it. I love it when we get these show and tell episodes.
This one's a little scratched up. Let me get a better one. This one looks nice. So here is the Defeated Sanitizer.
Yeah. Everyone needs some of that. Bring some of that down with you too. That's incredible.
Yeah, we'll definitely bring some of that. It is not just regular sanitizer. It's extra special strength. Actually, 62% alcohol, and defeats all the germs and the sanity at the same time.
I love it. Yeah. That's the best sales pitch ever. Who came up with that idea? I mean, it's a no-brainer, but
it actually goes back way further than COVID. We've been talking about this. Our tour manager brought it up, Paul McGuire, like years ago, joking, like Defeated Sanitizer, and we always were like just humoring merch ideas like that, but never actually pulled the trigger on any of them. And then COVID came around, and we were set to go on tour 2020, and COVID hasn't shut anything down yet, but it was like people were starting to get nervous about it. We're like, all right, this is the time. We'll make it. And that was actually not easy to find a place that could just make like 500 of these, because sanitizer was running low. So finding a place that could, within like a 10-day turnover time or something, get us like 500 of these bottles was not easy. And we didn't have them right away for the tour start, but like a couple days into the tour, we had them, and we sold like 50 a night or so of them. It was pretty crazy. Yeah, just flew off the shelves. And then, yeah, unfortunately, the tour got, cut short and we had to take a lot of them home. But hey, it was a very, very hot item in 2020. And we still have some. I've actually made some more for this tour.
Awesome.
So we will keep selling the stock that we have, and I'll definitely bring the boxes.
Bring them down. Bring them down. We need some down here. We're still using it down here. Sure. We're all about it. It's just going to be cool.
I'm very proud of this. This is like the first and probably last merch gimmick that the Defeated Sanity ever produced. Like just straight up, gimmick. I love it.
Oh, mate, that's awesome. And of course, I mean, you guys have played some incredible tours and shows over the years and probably instigated some pretty hectic pits. But what's the craziest one that you've seen throughout the years that you've gone? That's pretty full on.
This is a tough question because there's even if you were to ask me which one was the craziest pit on this tour, I already would name 3 or 4 and couldn't narrow it down. There's been some crazy pits. We've had people lose teeth and all kinds. I remember Pittsburgh, in fact. Pittsburgh, 2016, I guess. Yeah, somebody got teeth knocked out in the pit. That was wild. But yeah, we've had crazy pits on this tour. Oh God, I mean, Philadelphia was wild on this tour. Philadelphia was insane. It's always so hard to see what exactly is going on from being on stage. But when you just see even the people that do not want to pit just being bounced around just because there's no escaping it, it's oh, wow, okay, this room is boiling. There's no safe place in this room. You can't be anywhere safe. And that's been a lot of our shows, to be honest. There's been fights too. There's been fights. One time we played in Boston, I think. We had to stop the song because there was a fight breaking out, and then we had to escort the fighting guys out, and then kept playing. Resumed playing.
Man, don't fight, guys. Just point it out there to everyone out there. Don't fight in the pit. Be cool.
Yeah, no, don't fight in the pit. I mean, sometimes actually quite shocked when I'm on stage and I see people falling to the ground in the pit. I'm always holding my breath, oh my God. Then, usually some people helping them up and they just keep going, So it's it's hard. It's I can't look away. I need to make sure everybody's cool, but I also need to, it's also great to see everybody's having a good time. And our shows are definitely, especially in the United States, there's pits. There's definitely pits, always.
Man, I gotta say, down here, you're gonna see some pits, bro.
Hell
it's gonna be awesome. But I mean, we're pretty good. We do the pick you up. You'll be right.
Yeah, got it. Back. No, absolutely. That's just part of the code. You don't want anybody to go home injured or not having a good time, and that's a must, and I'm glad to hear that. I'm looking forward to see it down there.
Just you wait, mate. Just you wait. But I mean, of course, you played some big death fests as well throughout the years. That us down here in our scene, we don't have it as big, obviously, as what it is over in the States. Those things are fucking huge, and we see them and we just go, how insane they are. But what are those things like for you? And the vibe of those really big death fests.
Mm-hmm. It depends. It really depends what kind of festival we're talking about. If it's a straight up Maryland Death Fest has always been overwhelming in terms of attendance and response. And there's just I just remember even the very first time we played Maryland Death Fest, which was 2008, and that was our first appearance in the United States. That and a few more shows down the East Coast. Getting that kind of reception we got at that festival was unheard of at that point. 2008 in Europe, we were not seeing these that kind of crowd response, just a whole room of 1,000 people just in waves, just going absolutely bonkers. So, and that has repeated every time pretty much we played Maryland Death Fest, which was 2 or 3 more times. Now in Europe, it's a little different. I mean, there's like there used to be Neurotic Death Fest, later on Netherlands Death Fest. And that one was kind of the same crowd and the same response. Like when we played Netherlands Neurotic Death Fest, we always get insane crowds, and it feels great because it's international crowds, people coming from everywhere. Just, you know, some of them maybe just for us, and they're really going crazy over it. But then there's also these more mixed genre festivals, especially in Germany, but Europe in general, where, you know, you have like Nightwish playing on the big stage, and then you have like us playing on a small stage, or, you know, like completely mixed bands and mixed crowds. And that's sometimes tougher because, especially at these big festivals, we're not necessarily playing super up top on the bill. We're somewhere in the middle or down there. And that results in like an afternoon slot instead of like a 9 p.m. slot or something. So getting a crowd to move at 3 p.m. on like a daylight stage is much harder than getting a crowd to move at like 9 p.m. dark, you know, nighttime. Everybody has a buzz and just a good time. So that's a lot harder. Plus, you see everyone's face out there. That's actually the worst part about playing daytime, like festival kind of stages. You see everyone's face, and it is, it kind of trips you up, you know, to see too much of the audience. You know, and you're maybe thinking too much into their facial expressions, or, you know, these guys are chatting, or this guy's on his phone, and you're like, why is this guy on his phone? He's not having a good time. What's going on? So yeah, it just kind of gets you thinking more than when you have like this, you know, dark room or dark stage, and you don't really look for all these little details, you know.
Man, is there a band that you keep bumping into that you maybe haven't toured with, that you want to tour with, that, you know, you're good mates with, and you're like, hey man, how you going at these festivals? And then you're like, we'll have to tour one day.
I mean, we already spoke about Disentomb, you know, that's obviously one of those names we've been bumping into. But yeah, there's tons. I mean, just the other day we were talking about Dying Fetus when Trey came out to the show in Maryland. And that's another band that, like, for 10 years, we're like, man, guys, you got to take us out. I mean, obviously they're a bigger band, so they need to take us out on tour, not the other way around. So we're like, you guys got to take us out. And they're always super, like, into our music. But, you know, it's hard when it comes to they have their management and they take care of that. But yeah, Disgorge is another one of these bands. If they were still around, we were like in a heartbeat, you know, hop on a tour with them if that was ever an option, you know. But yeah, there's tons of bands that we just keep bumping into, and, you know, haven't managed to play a tour together. It's just the way of the industry is sometimes you just kind of have to take what you can get. And if your booking agency has this lineup, for example, this tour we just did was Vitriol, Skeletal Remains, Splattered. Like, these bands have not really been on our radar that much before the tour. So it's not like we would throw their name out there. Like, it's not the first thing that comes up when we think of a tour package. But our agent put it all together like that. And we're like, cool, yeah, sure, that's good. Sign off on it. And now after this tour, now that we know the guys, seen them play every night, seen them fucking rip and kill every night, now, you know, we want to do it again. You know, now they're on our radar, and, you know, if we can make this work maybe in Europe or somewhere else, or even in the States again, and get one of these bands on there again, that would be fantastic. We would absolutely do it in a heartbeat. But yeah, there's so many variables and factors that go into planning a tour package, that our wish lists, like, oh, we would love to play with like Discord or something, and then the agent, you know, reaches out to them, or just, you know, then they have to make sure that all their members are, you know, free and available, and they don't have any other plans. Oh no, we're recording, or we already have this other tour, or we're actually not even active anymore, or whatever. One of us just had a baby or took a new job, and now we can't tour. And, you know, this kind of stuff just always happens, especially in the underground, where bands are dealing with life and jobs, and, you know, can't just be like music is number one and nothing comes in the way.
Man, no, I definitely know there's so many moving parts for bands. Like people just think you just go out. And you go, well, this week I'm gonna go out and do a tour.
If it would be so easy, but we're almost like, I feel in the death metal underground, we're one of those few bands that even has the option to play long tours, because most other bands are tethered to, you know, oh no, I gotta work, I have this mortgage to pay, or, you know, 2 children. And in Defeated Sanity, we're all pretty much just set on playing music and life and working supplemental jobs, obviously, but still treating the band as a career in a way. So we're flexible and keeping ourselves flexible. None of us has kids, which, you know, helps with that matter as well. We have girlfriends or wives, but, you know, they're unfortunately very understanding and tolerating of our lives. But yeah, it's hard in this kind of music to really have even the ability to go on tour for that long.
Yes. Yeah, 100%, man. But I mean, you guys are just absolutely crushing it. And it's good to see that, you know, now that things are moving forward, that, yeah, that you're really making a go of it. You're heading out there into the big world, coming down here to Australia. It's exciting times for you guys. Very,
very exciting. Yes. I can't wait. I just licked some blood on this tour and I want more.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, of course, I mean, what's next for you, man? Like, past the tour, what do you guys got coming up? You got more recording, new album?
Yeah. So there's a whole plan of how to support this album still in terms of touring. Want to do a second US tour, want to do a European tour, at least a European tour, probably some festivals on top of that. 2023, that's not going to happen this year. So there's like the next 12 to 18 months are still going to mostly be dedicated to supporting this album live. At the same time, we're writing a new album and trying to kind of figuring out right now whether we want to finish writing the album and then go to the studio maybe in a year or so and get it out, or whether we want to, and this again goes back to this problem that COVID has kind of cut short the album, or like scattered the album cycle, the touring cycle for this new album, that we're even thinking maybe we'll just like do like a 1-2 song release of new material, just to give the fans something new, to put something new out, but not take away entirely from the new album, the latest album, Sanguinary Impetus, to still go on tour with that, maybe have like 1-2 song release of new music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a new option, instead of just pushing the next album out quickly and then, you know, potentially underrepresenting the Sanguinary Impetus. So yeah, we're kind of still, we're on the fence. We're thinking about these things right.
And what about you? You mentioned my earphones keep popping out. You're an audio engineer as well. You mentioned before. So how do people check out your work with that?
Well, it's actually harder to do because I'm really just kind of like mixing these days. I'm not really studio mixing anymore.
Okay.
Which changed, especially with my move to the States. I don't have a studio here per se. I have my little home recording studio, and I can definitely mix here. And I've been doing like some like Defeated Sanity demo mixes or stems, and not really set up to do like any band recordings at this point, which is completely fine with me because I've been just focusing on my live mixing. So I'm mixing events. That's really what I do on my day to day. I go out there, festivals or music shows, any kinds of events, corporate events, conferences, whatever. I do it, I mix it, and that's how I make my living.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. That's quite awesome.
Well, brother, it's been awesome hanging out with you on the show. Of course, we can't wait to see you and Disentomb come down here and kick our asses. That's on July 7, Brisbane, our neck of the woods. Let's do it.
That's where you're at? Okay, I was about to ask.
Yeah, well, I'm on the Gold Coast, so I'm about 40 minutes south. I don't know, man. I don't know directional here. I've lost my bearings. Yeah, we're just so we'll be making the trip up, dude.
Brisbane.
Brisbane is where it's at, and I think it's the Bright Side you're playing. It's gonna be sick, dude. It's a really sick venue. Really sick venue. Man. Well, we'll have to have a beer, that's for sure.
Absolutely, 100%. We'll have a Foster or something.
Hey. You know, we don't drink Fosters, right?
I do know that. I actually know that nobody drinks Fosters down there. That's why I made that casual joke. I don't know what's actually the beer to drink down there, so you'll have to show me.
All right. Okay. Well, it depends on where you're at. I like. VB is a good one. Victoria Bitter VB. It's a good beer, but some people say it tastes like cat's piss. I like it. Don't drink cat's piss. Up in our way, it's 4X. 4X Gold. Now that tastes like shit. I hate it.
Okay.
But there's always a crafty stuff that people like. But if you want to, give it a good drop, VB's a good one. If you're in New Zealand, Wakachangi is your way to go. Wakachangi.
Interesting name.
It's look on the front cover, look it up. It's the tagline is quite nice beer. It's probably my favorite drop ever. I really like it. It's on the front. It's got a dude saving a damsel in distress from a demon hamster with a spatula. But don't let that fool you. It's really, really crisp and really nice. There you go. There's my tips. New Zealand.
I'll try one of each. I'll try the cat piss too. I just want to.
VB.
Okay.
It depends on what your taste is, but give it a go. Give it a go.
I will. 100%.
Hey, thanks for hanging out, brother. We'll see you.
My pleasure. Very, very nice chatting with you, and hope we get to hang out soon and share a beer and listen to some death metal.
Absolutely. Let's throw down. That's for sure, man.